It's time for Recipe of the Day. I am telling you, if you have never had bacon gravy before, you need to stop whatever you're doing right now and make some and eat it for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. Doesn't matter. It is so crazy good. I hadn't had it until I moved to Florida, and then there was just one restaurant in South Florida that had it on their biscuits instead of sausage gravy. They had bacon gravy, and I was like, what on earth? And then I started doing some research on it, and sure enough, it is a thing. There are people making bacon gravy all over the place. They're not in Canada, but they are in the southern United States, and they are in West Virginia. I have learned because this recipe went viral on TikTok. It's got 1.3 million views at this point, 2 million views on Facebook. People are loving this, but I have learned a lot about the differences between bacon gravy in different regions. And so yes, it's West Virginia, and then in like Texas and Louisiana seems to be where this is happening the most. And I can tell you, I have been told that I do not brown the roux for my bacon gravy enough, except if I were living in West Virginia, then they don't seem to brown it as much, and it's a little bit whiter. I would love some confirmation on this. This is what I'm gleaning from the comments rolling in on all of these TikTok and Facebook videos where people are quite passionate that I am doing it wrong, which is so fun. I'm loving it. Although, I guess what I'm saying is if you want to make bacon gravy the wrong way, which I promise is incredibly delicious and may or may not be the way they make it in West Virginia, then you've got to make this recipe. So just to be clear, what is bacon gravy exactly? It is a gravy that uses bacon fat, so that grease, the fat that renders off of cooking bacon, mixed with flour as the roux, and then you add some milk to that, and then add in crumbled bacon, and you serve it over biscuits, over toast. It is lovely and delicious, and it's basically just a creamy sauce that tastes like bacon. So good. So to make about 2 cups of this gravy, which I think is enough for 4 people, but the people on social media have told me that I have not made enough for even 1 person, so I'll let you decide that. To make 2 cups of the gravy, you start with 8 strips of raw bacon that you're cooking in a large skillet over medium heat, however you like to cook your bacon, flipping occasionally until they're crispy or to the doneness that you like. It's about 5 to 6 minutes. Now, I am particularly sensitive to that like burnt flavor that you get when fat or grease or bits of meat burn or blacken. And so what I do at that point is take the bacon out of the skillet, take the skillet off the heat, and then I scrape the bacon fat into a bowl and wait for a moment, the darker bits settle to the bottom, and then I scoop out the fat from there. Before I scoop it out, I do wipe out the skillet so that there's none of that blackened or dark grease in there. But people on TikTok have told me not to do this, that all the flavor is in those dark bits and leave them in there. I'm going to keep doing it my way because I am sensitive to that flavor. But if you love that flavor, leave it all in there. I was also told not to only use 2 tablespoons of the bacon fat, but to use all of it. So you do your way. What I'm doing is taking the bacon out of the skillet, pouring the fat into a bowl, wiping out the skillet, putting the skillet back on the heat, and then scooping 2 tablespoons only of the bacon fat, trying to leave behind the dark bits, into my now clean skillet. And then into that, you measure 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, whisk it until smooth. And I'll say here that at some point you're going to need that bacon that you just cooked chopped up. And so I find it easiest to just do it now while nothing yet is cooking, no craziness is happening, nothing is simmering, bubbling, anything like that. Chop up the bacon and then it's ready for you when you need it. Okay, now you're going to turn the heat to medium-low under your flour and bacon fat roux, and you're going to stir continuously until it's slightly tinted in color, or if you like yours darker, go as dark as you like. Then to that, you're going to be adding a 1/2 cup of whole milk. Whisk as you're adding it. You're trying to keep this smooth. You don't want it to clump up. And then once that's smooth, you add in another 1/2 cup of the milk, whisk some more until smooth. And then at that point, you can probably add in the full remaining 1 cup of milk. Now I'll say the recipe calls for whole milk. That is going to be your best bet. But it's also really good with evaporated milk, canned evaporated milk. You can use that, or you could use like some half and half or part half and half and part skim milk, that would be fine. But you want something just a little bit richer and thicker because there's not a lot of ingredients in here and all the flavor is coming from the bacon and the milk, really. Okay, once all the milk is in there, you increase the heat to medium and you stir continuously until it comes up to a simmer, and then reduce the heat down a little bit and just stir. It's going to thicken up really nice. Just takes a minute or two. Then you're going to add that chopped bacon back in. Give it all a taste and add a little more salt and pepper if you need, and then serve it on top of some biscuits. Just make sure they're not biscuits from a can. I did that and I got in trouble on TikTok for that as well. But I promise you, it'll be delicious no matter what you do. It is a really, really tasty recipe, really easy, and it's going to transform your weekend breakfast. I promise. I will put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there, or find it in our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/recipeotd. And hey, just a quick note. I'm on a recording hiatus right now, so for the next little while, I'm replaying episodes from the archives, including this one. If you heard me mention a holiday, a season, or something going on in my life that seemed a bit off, that's why. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you're enjoying these older episodes. I am Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, cookfor2.us, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.